Episode 11 to 13.
In the heart of a busy city, Luke stood by his newly rented stall, a splash of color and energy amidst the everyday grind. The sun was setting, glowing warmly over the vibrant display of fresh fruits and creamy yogurt. This was his shot, his chance to turn things around.
All right, Luke, you've got this. Fresh fruits, homemade yogurt. Let's make some magic.
Luke had been preparing for days, setting up this fruit salad business. It wasn't just about selling food, but about reclaiming his life. He'd been at rock bottom, and this stall was his ladder up. The colorful fruits at $12 a pound, along with its mix and match style, made it a big draw amongst younger customers.
Hey, what's this, fruit salad? Looks awesome.
Yup, fresh fruit salad with homemade yogurt. Want to try some?
The crowd was curious, drawn by the vibrant colors and the promise of something new. Young people, always on the lookout for the next big thing, started to gather. Luke knew his target demographic well and paid a lot of attention to how his business was presented. The newly rented stall was washed until extremely clean, with fruit sorted by color and a few decorations to attract attention.
This is great. I'll take one.
In no time, Luke's stall was buzzing with activity. His simple idea was catching on faster than he could have imagined. The large raisins, fresh fruits, and yogurt with a hint of sweetness left a fantastic impression at first sight. Naturally, quite a few people were willing to come and try. Meanwhile, across town, Emily had a different mission. She was heading back to her old house, a place filled with too many memories and too much pain. She needed to pick up some clothes for her daughter, Lily. The little girl hadn't seen her father for a few days and was in a rather bad mood. So she deliberately dirtied her clothes in a ploy to come back home. But Emily couldn't let her succeed, so she came back alone.
Let's get this over with.
As she stepped inside, the sight of neatly arranged milk jugs and fresh fruits on the kitchen counter stopped her in her tracks. Luke's touch was everywhere, and it didn't look like the mess she was expecting. Fresh fruits and sweet toppings of all kinds were neatly arranged on the kitchen counter, suggesting Luke was either renting the place out as a warehouse or really making money from a legitimate business.
What is all this? A fruit business? Really, Luke?
She couldn't believe it. The man who had let everything fall apart seemed to be pulling it back together. She found a note addressed to her, written in Luke's familiar handwriting.
I know you'll come back, so I packed everything. These are your and Lily's favorite clothes. I'll get new ones soon. There's also a prescription for your stomach issues on the back. It really works. Take care, Luke.
The handwriting was neat, bold, full of confidence she hadn't seen in years. It reminded her of the man she had once loved before life had worn him down. Back then, he wasn't anything like the man he had become, drinking and gambling his life away. But now it seemed like he was making a genuine effort to turn things around. Emily's eyes lingered on the clothes, memories flooding back. Luke had even included a piece of paper with a detailed prescription for her stomach problems. It was something he had gotten from a traditional doctor in his past life, a formula he had begged for weeks to obtain. In that previous life, he had burned the prescription in front of Emily's grave, filled with grief over her loss. But now, he could give it to her personally. She shook off the thoughts, packing the clothes quickly. As she was about to leave, she noticed a small bag of dragon fruits with another note attached.
It tastes good. Take it.
Such a simple gesture, but it made her pause. Dragon fruits weren't very expensive, but the placement of the bag was clever. Luke knew she wouldn't linger on anything in the house, so he hung the bag on the door, making sure she would unavoidably catch sight of it as she looked up. She didn't take the fruit, couldn't let herself believe in this change just yet. With a heavy heart, she locked the door behind her and left. Back at the kindergarten, she watched Lily playing with the other kids, her laughter filling the air. Emily's heart ached with the weight of uncertainty. Could she trust Luke again? Was this change real or just another illusion? As the sun dipped below the horizon, Emily knew one thing for sure. She couldn't let herself hope, not yet. But the seeds of doubt had been planted, and only time would tell if they would grow into something real. As night fell, Luke's stall remained busy, a small beacon of hope in his otherwise chaotic life. He was determined more than ever to make this work. The colorful fruits and mix-and-match style continued to attract a crowd, and the stall was quickly crowded with hungry customers. Luke knew his efforts were paying off, but he also knew that winning back Emily's trust would be the real challenge. In the bustling city, amidst the chaos and uncertainty, one thing was clear. Luke's journey was just beginning, and the stakes had never been higher. He looked around at the satisfied faces of his customers, feeling a sense of accomplishment he hadn't felt in years. But would it be enough to mend what was broken? What happens next? Will Luke's efforts be enough to mend what's broken? Stay tuned to find out. This is just the beginning. Join us next time as the story unfolds. In a world where second chances are rare, Luke's determination to rebuild his life might just give him the edge he needs. But with Emily's trust on the line, only time will reveal if his efforts are enough to bring his family back together. In a quiet suburb under the bright morning sun, Emily's footsteps echoed along the path leading to the kindergarten. She paused, her heart heavy with a familiar pang of guilt. Lily had always wanted to go to school, and Emily knew it all too well. Lily was often alone at home, her days spent in solitude, longing for companionship. Emily felt the weight of her failures pressing down on her. She had always claimed to have done so much for her family, yet she couldn't even afford her child's education.
How could I have failed so miserably as a mother?
As Emily approached the kindergarten gate, a middle-aged woman emerged, her face lighting up with recognition.
Hey there, you're Lily's mom, right? We've met before, haven't we?
Yes, I remember.
Where's Lily today? Why isn't she in school?
I've been a little busy lately.
Emily felt her cheeks flush with shame. No way was she admitting she couldn't pay the school fees.
I get it, life gets hectic. But now that you've paid the fees, isn't it a waste to keep her at home? She loves it here, and it would give you and your husband some breathing room.
Amidst the director's reassuring words, Emily's mind raced. The fees were paid? Had Luke actually done it? Their arguments over Lily's education had been constant, but now, in just a week, everything had changed.
The fees. How much were they again?
For the year, it's $6,800 plus uniforms and snacks, totaling around $8,000. Quite affordable for the quality we offer.
Emily's heart sank. $8,000 was an impossible sum for them. Her breath caught in her throat.
If Lily doesn't attend, can we get a refund?
I'm afraid not. Once paid, the fees are non-refundable. We could postpone her enrollment to the next semester if needed.
Emily felt a wave of despair. Refunds were out of the question. With no other options, she turned to leave, her thoughts a whirlwind of uncertainty and frustration. Meanwhile, across town, Luke was having an unexpectedly good day. His fruit salad business was booming, attracting a crowd eager for a taste. In just 3 hours, he sold out all his stock. The mix and match pricing was a hit, and his stall had become the talk of the market.
Hey man, when are you opening again? This stuff is amazing.
Same time tomorrow. Spread the word.
Luke's success was a beacon of hope. With $2,000 in earnings, he packed up and headed home, spirits high. But his optimism was short-lived. As he entered his apartment, he found a letter on the floor. It was from the Pacific Ocean Hotel, a place he hadn't thought about since the Boston lobster incident.
What now?
The letter accused him of collusion with a chef and a part-time employee, suspecting he had orchestrated the lobster purchase to profit at their expense.
This is ridiculous. I did nothing wrong.
Ignoring their demand for an apology and restitution, he tossed the letter into the trash. His mood darkened further when he noticed the untouched dragon fruits and the prescription missing from the counter. Emily had been there, but their communication remained strained. Back at the Borco advertisement company, Vincent was having his own crisis. His phone buzzed with a call from his father's appraisal center.
Vincent here.
Mr. Gaines, we found a significant issue with Urbane Wine Industries products. At least half of their wine contains large amounts of industrial alcohol.
Are you certain?
Positive. Even their high-priced wines are tainted. This could be catastrophic.
Vincent's heart pounded. The implications were enormous. If word got out, their reputation and his career could be ruined.
Understood. Thank you for letting me know.
He hung up, his mind racing. The stakes had never been higher. As he sat back, the weight of responsibility bore down on him, knowing he had to act swiftly to prevent a disaster. In the midst of these personal battles, a storm was brewing, one that would intertwine their fates in ways they could never foresee. The truth had a way of surfacing, no matter how deeply it was buried. Vincent Gaines was riding high on elation when the prestigious Herbert Wine Industries agreed to collaborate with his advertising firm. He had poured his very soul into crafting the advertisement designs, meticulously perfecting every last detail through countless sleepless nights. But now, icy tendrils of dread coiled around his pounding heart as a sickening premonition gripped him. The office door swung open with a drawn-out, bone-chilling creak, and the design department's supervisor strode in confidently. His eyes sparkled with misplaced pride, a smug smile playing on his lips as he clutched his prized notebook to his chest.
Mr. Gaines, the Herbert Wine Industry advertisement is finally complete. Take a look. I guarantee those picky snobs won't find a single flaw this time around.
A shiver slithered down Vincent's spine as the cold grasp of dread settled like a leaden weight in the pit of his stomach. He didn't even spare the design a glance.
What are you smiling about? Is this design even worth the paper it's printed on? Get out of my sight.
The supervisor's smug expression crumbled, his face draining of color as confusion and anxiety took hold. Wasn't this their biggest deal yet? Why the sudden outburst? But Vincent had no time to explain. With a trembling hand, he snatched up the phone receiver.
Get the legal affairs department here immediately. I said immediately, damn it.
Mr. Gaines, is there a problem?
Order the business department to contact Herbert Wine Industries about the industrial alcohol issue at once. Report back to me the instant you hear from them.
Stunned by Vincent's intensity, the supervisor fled the office like a startled deer. Hours crawled by as they awaited the business department's report, tension thick enough to choke on. Finally, the damning news arrived. Herbert Wine Industries insisted they used only natural alcohol in their products and knew nothing about industrial alcohol. Vincent made his decision in a heartbeat, his voice cold and resolute.
Cancel the contract. But sir, the agreement stipulates we must pay 30% in liquidated damages, $300,000.
Many were baffled by Vincent's willingness to forfeit such a staggering sum, but he knew all too well the ruinous scandal a finalized contract could unleash, potentially bankrupting the company. He heaved a weighted sigh of relief, thankful to have averted catastrophe. Reflecting on the tumultuous affair, Vincent's thoughts turned to Luke with a flush of embarrassed remorse for his previous treatment of the man. Without hesitation, he dialed Luke's number, relieved he hadn't deleted it in his anger.
Luke, it's Vincent. I was wrong. Dreadfully wrong. I'll transfer the $150,000 to you immediately.
Luke seemed wholly unsurprised by the turn of events, his voice calm and measured.
Forget about the money. If you lose, we'll call it even. You'd have figured it out eventually.
But I did lose.
It's really not necessary. If you want to help, speak up for me with Emily when I visit your company. She's still furious with me.
Vincent agreed without a moment's hesitation, admiring Luke's gentlemanly conduct. Luke's timely advice had single-handedly saved Vincent from a disastrous fallout. Half an hour later, Luke arrived at Vincent's company. The young receptionist, her warm smile welcoming, led him directly to Vincent's office without delay.
Mr. Miller, Mr. Gaines said you can go right in.
Thank you.
As Luke crossed the threshold into Vincent's domain, Emily arrived in a flustered whirlwind of unease. She remembered Luke's dire warning about Herbert Wine Industries all too vividly. Her eyes danced with nervous apprehension as she grabbed Luke's arm in a vice-like grip.
What are you doing here again? Leave before Mr. Gaines sees you.
What's wrong with him seeing me?
Do you know the disaster you've caused? You're courting death by coming here.
Caused trouble. Your boss invited me. He wanted to thank me.
Emily nearly laughed in frustration, her grip on Luke's arm tightening until her knuckles turned white.
Go, now, or I'll have security throw you out on your arrogant behind.
Before she could make good on her threat, Vincent himself emerged from his inner sanctum. His expression was an inscrutable blend of relief and iron determination.
Emily, it's all right. Luke saved us from ruin. Come in, both of you. We need to talk.
Utterly bewildered and fraught with worry, Emily trailed after them into Vincent's office, wholly oblivious to what earth-shattering revelation awaited her. As the door swung shut behind them with a dull thud, the tension in the air crackled with the promise of an explosive disclosure. What Vincent was about to divulge would change everything. Emily's heart galloped against her ribcage as she braced herself for the shattering truth to come crashing down.
Emily, the truth is, if it wasn't for Luke, we would have lost everything. You need to hear what really transpired.
Emily's eyes flew wide with shock as Vincent began to patiently unravel the tangled web of deception. Just as he reached the critical crux of the sordid tale, the office lights flickered and died with an ominous buzz. plunging the room into impenetrable darkness. Emily's heart thundered in the suffocating silence, each ragged breath seeming deafeningly loud. The sudden engulfing blackness felt distinctly sinister, as if it heralded yet more turmoil still to come. What fresh threat loomed on the horizon? And how was the unflappable Luke ensnared in this ever-deepening quagmire of secrets and lies? To be continued. Stay tuned for the next riveting episode of Luke's Redemption, where long-buried secrets finally claw their way into the light and lives hang perilously in the balance. You won't want to miss a single breathless second.